All right. Welcome to another episode of Speak On It. That's your host, Dom and Biv. I'm excited that people know that we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Um, Without further ado, we're going to jump into the show. Um, First topic that we're going to talk about is baseball, right? Carlos Santana just Carlos Santana just signed. I think right, just signed 2-year deal. Led us to thinking who is the top five free agents out there and where could they go. I kicked it off with number five. Um, Number five, I had a couple. I went back and forth with it, so I'm gonna give you six. Didi Gregorius, shortstop, Phillies, and that's why I haven't gone back. I haven't gone back to the Phillies. We need Pop. What's name needs? He played well last year. I think he had 14 home runs. And he knows Joe Girardi. He knows him. I think you should bring everybody back and add some pitching to that and run it back. You know what I mean? It was Joe's first year. He had a crazy front office that really wasn't giving them anything to work with. So I think you bring everybody back. And Didi was the sixth guy that I had on this. I actually put Sleeper next to him. Marcus Seaman was actually my number five. And I got him going to the Los Angeles Angels.
I was looking at Marcus too. I really was. Didi wasn't even on my radar, I'll be honest with you. But I understand. I understand where you're coming from with him. My number five was Marcell Ozuna. And it's really dependent on whether or not Major League Baseball is going to continue with the universal DH, which is what he did a lot of with Atlanta last year. And he's saying that he's more than that, and he wants to get back and be an outfielder more than a DH. But I hope he comes back to the Braves, but I'm hearing other teams are in. And I think other teams are probably going to offer him some more money than we probably will, which is why I don't think we re-sign him. Hopefully we do. But I got a feeling that he's going to end up a Giant because I got a feeling the Giants are going to be the ones that's going to throw him the most money so they can try to keep up with the Dodgers. So
I look at Marcell, and it would kind of shy me away because what you said, I don't know if they're going to have him as if he's going to be that DH. I mean, if they're going to have the DH in the NL and the AL, I think he's perfect for what y'all do in that DH spot. So that's why I really didn't go with Marcell. He had a great year, and even if I was clear, I probably still would have put Marcus Seaman ahead of him. Marcus Seaman, I think, is a beast at shortstop, and I actually don't think that Oakland can afford to lose him. So, my number four, I went with DJ LeMahieu, and I actually got him, and I hated putting him here. You know what I mean? But the Washington Nationals, I think he's perfect second baseman for them. They need that pop. They got that. They have their arms coming back next year. So I think they need somebody who can bat for average, somebody who can give you a pop in that lineup. And I think DJ LeMahieu does exactly that, and he brings stability to that team.
I got him at 4 as well, but I got him going to a different team. I got to go to the Dodgers and playing third and filling in for Justin Turner. Again, the pockets is deep, so that money will not be any. It won't have any factor into this situation on their end, But I just feel like they'll just keep rolling. And this is the type of move that can help them to keep rolling. You just plug in a guy like DJ LeMahieu who's going to show up every day. He's going to hit for average. He's going to hit for power. He can hit anywhere in the lineup. And he can play anywhere in the infield. I've seen him play everywhere but short. Yeah. So he's the plug in and play guy. The Dodgers I just have that feeling that they're going to make a splash again.
I'm gonna tell you what's funny, funny or crazy, right? About everybody on my list. Everybody on my list, I legit was like, man, the Dodgers can go. The Dodgers they could be almost everybody on the list except Didi, who I put on there. But shoot, like everybody I'm looking at my list, I'm like, man, I legit almost plugged them, the Dodgers, whatever, because they are the type of team that will go after. They don't care if they just won. They don't care if they have somebody at that position. If it's a name, we're gonna find a way to put you on the field.
Yep.
So my number 3 though is George Springer. I got him going to the Mets. The reason I got him going to the Mets also is because he in that front office right now. he's in that building right now talking to the Mets. Well, he's not in the building, but he's in heavy deep talk with them. And I also think it's a need. So I got him going to the Mets. I think he's going to bring pop to that lineup. They already have the pitching in line, and they just got Cohen, who just bought the team. I think he's looking to spin. Think he's looking to bring in names and people that's going to actually put them over the hump. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see 2 or 3 big name free agents going to the Mets. But I think one of them starts with George Springer.
My number 3, I have JT Realmuto, my guy, probably the best all-around catcher in baseball at this point. I had him going to the Mets, but then I'm hearing that they're closing in on James McCann. So I got him staying in the division, but I got him going to the Nats. I got him going to the Nats. It's a need, and they can always use a good catcher. Anybody, especially when you have arms like they have a good pitching staff. So you get a catcher. He's in the division, so he can give you all the secrets of the Phillies, and so. But I got him go to the Nets. I had him go to the Mets, but it looks like McCann is going to be a Met. So
I think both Springer and McCann going to be there.
So
my number 2 is JT Realmuto, and I got him staying. In Philly. Couple reasons. It'll be a need. He's the best catcher in the baseball. I don't think we can go into next season with Andrew Knack. And we gave up too much for it to get him. We gave up Sixto Sanchez, who's a freaking beast now. And you can't justify letting the best catcher walk out of your building and giving up your top prospect who's turned into a monster. So you got to do what you got to do to make sure that you keep him in the building. And I think they do that. They keep JT Realmuto in the building, unless they find a way to bring in Francisco Lindor in. But even then, I would still find a way to keep JT Realmuto in the building.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope they do keep him. So, but I doubt it. They already opened a pocketbook up one too many times. I feel like that, knowing their history. But anyway, number 2, I got George Springer, and I got him like you. I got him going to the Mets. I think they are ready to make a splash and be the best team in New York. And if they're the best team in New York, that means they're the best team in the National League East as well. So that's the move that they're making, and that's the way that the franchise looks like it's headed. They got a lot of young bats in there already, and they ap a good pitcher staff. Can add a championship experience, and George Springer, go for it.
Yes, sir. Number 1, Trevor Bauer, which I know will probably be your number 1 as well. I got him going to Los Angeles Angels as well. I think they need pitching. They need to find a way to get those guys into the playoffs. I think it starts with pitching. You went and got him a sidekick in Randon. You bring in Marcus Seaman as well, but you also add that bat to help him get to the playoffs. I also put a sleeper right here, and it's not because it's my team, but the Phillies. We need pitching.
Absolutely.
We need pitching. So if I'm going to let JT Realmuto go, it better be because I'm bringing in an ace. I need to allocate those funds to an ace, and we got enough bats to actually carry us. We just need people to make stops. Oh, before you go, matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna let you say your thing. Who you got him going to first? Because there's one that's a wild card that's popped in my head when I was doing it as well.
Yeah, I got him going to the Red Sox, and that's because they are in complete desperate need for pitching, and you can get an ace. The Yankees just pretty much almost got to the World Series with just an ace and a bunch of other arms.
Oh yeah,
you feel me? Just a bunch of other arms. An ace, a bunch of other arms and bats. And the Red Sox, they have the bats. They don't have no arms. So you get Trevor Bauer, man. You can change your fortune just like that. So
I agree. Wild card that I had when I was writing it down is Tampa Bay, the Rays. You lost Charlie Morton. I don't know if you really are. I can't even think of the other ace name. If you're actually really shipping him, or has him on a trading block. But if you don't have him on the trading block, and you can bring Trevor Bauer in to replace Charlie Morton with what the freak is his name?
Who you talking about?
Their ace.
The Rays ace?
Yeah.
Blake Snell.
Blake Snell. If you can bring him in with Blake Snell, that's a 1-2 punch. I think that's a better punch. I think that's a better punch than Charlie Morton and Blake Snell. You have Trevor Bauer and Blake Snell. And we just saw y'all were this close. Y'all were a call away from actually going to Game 7. And I think if you go to Game 7, you actually have an opportunity to win that World Series. You were that close with Charlie Morton and Blake Snell. You could bring in a Trevor Bauer and a Blake Snell. That's shutdown boot.
Absolutely.
Let's transition. I want to ask you this. I know it's off topic, it's off script. I wanted to throw it out there to you before we even got on air. But I saw a stat today that said there have been 850 canceled college basketball games in NCAA between the men's and women's basketball. And then I was thinking about all the cancellations that we have with college football. Do you think that and I've been big on it prior to me asking you this, but do you think that that is going to be super huge and bad for college basketball? The way they mishandled this.
I think it's NCAA period is just continuing to fall out of everyone's good graces. Like, I don't think there's really too many people still on the NCAA bandwagon at this point. And I think they are the ones that are continuing to look bad. Because once again, you had since March. You canceled March Madness, and it looks like you didn't have no plan. Like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Like, what were you doing? So, yeah, it looks terrible. And when the NBA, who runs the G League, looks like they have everything in order. They have everything going the right way. Why waste my time going to college when I could just go get paid at the G League, you know what I mean, and still get to the NBA? So the NCAA, they'll never, I don't think, unless I've heard people say that there's a possibility that the Power 5 conferences could walk away from the NCAA. And the lower conferences, or maybe even some of the major conferences that are not Power 5, they could walk away. But a lot of other programs can't. Like they can't function by themselves. So NCAA look like they might just be holding on to college football.
Yeah,
that might be that might be it, and it's going and we don't know how much longer that's going to last either. So
it's looking bad. Like I said, especially with the NCAA in basketball, it's like you said, y'all shut down. I think they shut down before everybody else. I think they shut down, or the NBA shut down a week before, and then NCAA shut down. But then the NBA came back, and y'all still had this layoff. And it's like what you said. Like, what have y'all been doing this whole time? Like 427 games have been canceled in college basketball. 427 games. Did y'all not just see the bubble that the NBA put on? Like, did y'all not see that? Like, how did y'all not mirror what they just did? Where they had no cases in that bubble. Like, how do you not mirror that? And to have all these games being canceled, and then you have coaches like Coach K just came out and said, like, he don't know where the state of college basketball is going. He doesn't know. When a coach who's that well respected, that well known, I don't know where the state of college basketball is going. That scares me a little bit for college basketball because I love college basketball. That I don't know, and I think we talked about it on the show before. The NCAA can't survive 2 seasons of not having March Madness. It just can't. They can't have 2 seasons of not having March Madness. And I think that's maybe where they're trending again, to not have March Madness.
I don't get them. Again, what were you doing? Like what were you doing? Because there was no plan. There was really, and people can blame it on the conferences and whatever, but there seemed to be no plan at all in place for college basketball. At least college football, there's some resemblance of a plan, even though it was in my opinion, a debacle. But college basketball, there was no plan at all. It was just put some games on the schedule, and hopefully COVID isn't running rampant and we can play. And if it is, we'll figure it out once we get there. And that's why it looks like this.
It looks like they try so hard to keep these traditions up, right? The classics. We always have classics in the beginning of the year. So we got to throw some kind of classics out there. The Big Ten, now they got this Big 10, Big 12, classic, tournament, whatever it is. So they just, like you said, they legit just throwing things together. Like, I go back to when we talk the Villanova game. Villanova, I think they lost to Virginia Tech or something like that. Or Virginia, they played somebody, Villanova. And it was the last minute. They just called them up, said, hey, listen, we down here. We trying to play a game. We wanted to play another game while we're down here. They threw that together. It legit looks like they are coming up with these things on the fly. And to me, like I think Jay Bill said it today, there's no leadership. There's no leadership in overseeing the athletics of the NCAA. There's no leadership. And it made me think, like, they don't really care about these kids. Like, go ahead.
Things can function so greatly by itself. Like, college sports is an entity where the people at the top, they don't really have to do anything because everybody below them does their part so well that they don't even have to do anything. Like, recruiting is going to take care of itself. The product will always be there. We'll never run out of college football players. We'll never run out of college basketball players. That means we'll never run out of coaches. We'll never run out of institutions. They're going to always be there. But you don't foresee things like this coming. So because you've been doing nothing for this entire time, now you can't function when the pressure's on because you haven't had to do it. They've been putting out fires with all of the scandals and everything, and the way they've mishandled the treatment of of the student athletes. Like everything is looking so bad for them. And then you throw this on top of it, and it's like this is probably coming to an end very soon.
Yeah. Listen, last again, like I keep saying, the last thing I need is another canceled college basketball season. I can't do it. I can't do it, especially March Madness, man. That's bread and butter right there for the college basketball.
They've got to figure it out. I believe that they can figure something out now for March. If you still don't have March figured out by March, I don't know what to say.
Yep. They need to find one voice. That's what I think, that they need to figure out who that one voice is. Not like you can have the Big Ten committee, AD, you can have, the Big 12, AD, the AC, you can have all those things, but ultimately they all need to go up to somebody, right? And not, well, these are Big Ten rules and these are these rules and whatever, yada, yada, yada. They need to figure out who is that guy that can oversee everybody. Have that veto power. But because right now they ain't looking good. Speaking of all these rules and all these things that's crazy, let's jump into college football, right? I think the committee. I don't know. I really don't know, Biv. That's I don't know. Big Ten changed their rules up today that allows Ohio State to actually play. It's not even play in the conference championship. They changed the rule to say that they could play, but because there was nobody else, and they already beat Indiana, they automatically awarded them the championship. So they changed the rule, said it was no longer 6 games that makes you have to qualify. Not only did you qualify, but you won. We automatically give you that. We're talking about making stuff up on the fly. Making stuff up on the fly. They made that thing up right there on the fly. Ohio State, you know what? We don't care if you're going to play 5 games, cancel a couple of games. You're the champ. To me, if that's not conference bias off of what else we're going to jump into, if it's not conference bias, I don't know what else. What else it could be.
They was going to win the division anyway, so.
Yeah, but at least make them play for the championship, not.
Well, they still got to play for the Big Ten championship. They just got awarded the title for the East.
Oh,
so they still got to play in the Big Ten. They're still going to play Northwestern, which they should probably wash them. But anybody that thought that the Big Ten wasn't going to somehow get Ohio State into that Big Ten championship game was fooling themselves. The Big Ten wants that money.
Yeah,
for going and playing in that college football playoff. They want that money. They want that money. You got it. You're gonna have to break the money off, some of that money off to the conference. So yeah, they wanted. They definitely wanted that. They want to get as many teams into New Year's Six bowls as possible. They want to maximize the amount of dollars that they can get from playing in bowl games. So I knew that they were gonna somehow bend the rules that they set. We're gonna bend our rules, but isn't that how it works? That's the American way, right?
Yep.
We bend our rules to favor ourselves. So that's what they did. I'm not shocked at all. I'm not surprised. That's what I was fully expecting it when that game got canceled. I was like, well, if Ohio State is not a conference champion, I don't see how the committee can justify getting them in there. You're talking about a team that's going to have 5 wins? They're going to be 5-0, 5-0 in the 4 seed. And people were going for this. And then people were talking about they should still get in 5-0 and not a conference champion. They should still be in. I'm like, man, this is y'all are turning this season into a complete joke.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a joke. It's a joke if Ohio State, it's a joke anyway that Ohio State is gonna get in, given what they've done so far. Like people are talking about it, the Michigan State win was impressive. I guess because Michigan State beat Northwestern the week before. But anyway, that was not impressive. Michigan State is not that good of a football team. Like I don't understand. Ohio State did to them what they were supposed to do. They're that good. Ohio State to me has not proven to be better than Cincinnati. I will have Cincinnati ahead of them. But I got one gripe this week for the committee though. It's the same gripe. It's the same gripe that I've been having every week. But it made it worse this week on themselves. You put Missouri in the top 25, and y'all still didn't put Liberty in the top 25.
9-1. Liberty 9-1. North Carolina State in there.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Missouri?
5-3.
Missouri, come on, stop it.
Listen, I got a bunch of gripes, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. Iowa State jumped Cincinnati and Georgia. The reasoning for Iowa State jumping Cincinnati and Georgia was because they were idle. They didn't play a game. Cincinnati and talking about Cincinnati and Georgia. Yet we still have Ohio State, who's 5-0, who's been idle as well, who has had canceled games, which is why their committee had just had to change a rule for them. They still sitting pretty at 4. They haven't changed since the season started. They've been in that slotted in that 4 seed since the season started, and they have less wins than they have the least amount of wins from everybody in the top 14. Yet we got teams jumping teams because teams ain't idle, but meanwhile Ohio State is idle, and to me they haven't had an impressive win all season. Maybe outside of Indiana, yet they're still number 4. I don't get it, but I do have a problem with Iowa State jumping Cincinnati. I got a problem with Iowa State jumping Georgia as well.
It's just Cincinnati is not getting in the 4. It's just all I know. No matter what happens, Cincinnati's not getting in the 4.
Every week they find a way.
And that's sad, man. What's
going to be interesting is if Iowa State can actually jump and somehow find a way to get in to the 4. And I read somewhere that Indiana still has a 37% chance to actually get into the college football playoffs as well. How that happens?
Not how.
How that happens, I don't know, but they said Indiana still has a legit 37% chance to get into the college football playoffs. Oh, all right. Okay. But yeah, that's my great man. That was my beef. I had, like I said, Liberty not getting in, or Missouri being in, USC jumping up 5 spots. What else that I have beef with? Coastal Carolina is a top 10. They jumped 5 spots. I mean, I think they're good with that where they should be. I think they're legit disrespecting Miami. That's just me. Miami has 1 loss on the season. 1 loss. And that is to a Trevor Lawrence-led Clemson team. They're 1 loss all season.
How Texas beat Kansas State and they jumped from unranked back into the top 20.
Yeah, ranked 20.
Because they beat Kansas State?
I don't again. Maybe the committee get a bye this year, but this is who the committee is. I can't say they get a pass or a bye, but this is who they are. Every year we're talking about. I don't understand it. Every year we're saying I don't understand it. This year ain't no different.
I guarantee, the way this is looking, the way this is looking, Iowa State can get in if by some miracle Northwestern beats Ohio State and Notre Dame beats Clemson. I can see Iowa State getting in.
And I think that's how they got to set. They that's why we see the moves that we see. They legit do not want, when Clemson Tulsa game got canceled, it was like, yes. But even then you can't legit justify it. You can't legit justify it when you have Ohio State, who has had so many games canceled and they haven't moved.
Yeah, and I don't like people. Like, I understand Ohio State is probably, if you had a full season, yeah, they probably be one of the best 4 teams in the country in a full season. Yeah, I understand that. Unfortunately, they didn't have a full season, so we can only judge them by what they've done so far. They have not been impressive to me to be one of the best 4 teams in the country. They haven't been. They haven't been one of the best 4 teams in the country through the 5 games that they played. But hey, whatever.
Florida, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, Miami. Heck, and I like Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's a better team than Ohio State. But when I'm naming all these teams, I'm talking about teams that legit almost have full seasons. They have more wins and more games than Ohio State. And you can't say an eye test. You can't say those things because all of that is subjective. That's all subjective. Y'all need to figure out some kind of structure and system that you guys use and apply to everybody. You can't just say Ohio State looks like one of the best teams in the league, in the nation. Iowa State looks like one of the best teams in the nation. So we're gonna have them jump Cincinnati, who's 8-0, or jump Miami, who's 8-1. Yet Iowa State is 8-2. Like, yeah. Every week we're gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? Until our voices are heard, we're gonna start a petition. Let your voice be heard. Y'all need to speak on it. We gotta start something, man, until this thing gets changed and switched around. All right, let's move forward, man. Oh, let's get before we jump into some football, basketball questions. I had a couple things that I saw pop up, and I wanted to get your opinion on. What did I ask you? Oh, are the Cowboys officially no longer the America's team? The reason I asked that is before this season, they was one of the most watched teams in the NFL. Whether they're losing, they're probably the most talked about team in the NFL, whether they're losing or they're winning. But today, the NFL flexed their game from a primetime game, the Sunday night game. They flexed it, and now they're the 1 o'clock game. And they moved the Browns into the 8 o'clock game. So that led me to think maybe NFL networks, not just NFL networks, just the networks in general, they're not high on the Cowboys no more. They don't care for the Cowboys no more. So are they officially done as America's team?
Were they ever really officially America's team? I think they did. That was like a self-proclaimed. Like, I mean, if Dak is healthy, even if they have the same record, if Dak is healthy and that offense is moving the football, they don't flex them. You know, but they're hard to watch. The defense is terrible and the offense is spotty and mediocre at best. So who really wants to watch that? That doesn't change that doesn't change the delusional fan base. And, but I've never considered them America's team because I think it's a joke. Like, America's team, like, what have you done to be America's team? And I mean, you want to be the team in the 90s? Okay, you can be the team of the 90s. You can have that title with America's team. That's just ridiculous. Especially now, like you haven't even been relevant in football. Like culturally, you're still relevant, but in football, you haven't been relevant in over 2 decades, closing in on 3.
And I think that's why they have that moniker, because culturally they're still relevant. I think they are. I think they have the most fans. I think they have the most fans out
Coast
of any
to coast, yes.
coast to coast. They have the most fans out of any probably in any sport. They have the most fans out of in any sport. So that's why they have that moniker, because they say they're America's team, because America loves them. That's my team. They fell in love with that football team. They fell in love with that swag. But I think that networks are actually like catching up. Like you're not, like you said, you're not watchable. You're not watchable. You're atrocious. And like you said, even when they have Dak, you're still losing. The offense looks nasty. The offense looks real good, but you're still losing.
Still getting worn out.
So I don't know. Like for me, like you said, for me, they're not America's team because I hate the Cowboys. But when I start putting everything into perspective, and I'm like, man, coast to coast are the fans that they have, the money that they generate. I think they're still a top 5 franchise as far as the way they generate money. They got Jerry Jones, who's a say what you want about him GM and everything like that. He is a great business mind. So that's why he keeps them relevant. So I would say that because of all of that, they will continuously be America's team, because for some reason fans love them. I don't know why. I don't know. Like you said, what y'all haven't done anything since 1995. 1995. But for some reason, people just love them. People love nostalgia. Like my wife, she be watching Home Alone all the time. She watch the same shows. She can legit watch The Cosby Show all day. I'm like, yo, didn't we just watch this John yesterday? Didn't we just watch this same episode? But listen, there's nostalgia for her. She loves it. She goes back. It brings her to a happy place. This is why the Cowboys fans will always be relevant, the Cowboys will all be relevant because they got those 5 championships, and it brings them back to a happy place. I guarantee when COVID hit, Cowboys fans went right back to their little Cowboys film room. They, start watching old tapes of Jimmy Johnson and them, and the other coach, Barry Swisher, and it brought them back to their happy place. That's all they got to hold on to.
But if you have to watch, if your Super Bowl highlight film is on VHS,
listen, I think they converted them. They might have converted. Cowboys fans tricky. They might have converted it to digital now. They might have converted it to some DVDs.
No, they still got it on VHS. They still got the Emmitt Smith starter jacket and everything hanging up.
Yep. They got the whole They got a whole closet. They got the Michael Irvin, the Emmitt Smith, the triplets. They got all that, man. But it takes them to a happy place, because I legit don't understand how you can possibly have anything to say out your mouth when you ain't won nothing. You legit won one playoff. I think you legit won one playoff game in 26 something years, 25, 26 years. One playoff game or 2 playoff games. Can't remember. But you won one playoff game. 26 years. Your last Super Bowl was in 1995. But yet they still America's team. Anyway.
Tough.
Segue into football. Before we get into a couple of these questions, I got one question for you, and it's, who is the MVP right now in the league, NFL?
I still gotta say it's Pat. I still think it's Patrick Mahomes right now. I don't think he's done anything, or anybody's done anything to supplant him So I'm gonna stay with Patrick.
When I first was asked this question, I was like, man, it's Pat. Shadow of a doubt, hands down. But I think Aaron Rodgers definitely has something to say about it, though. 36 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And he doesn't have the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has. It's still Patrick Mahomes to me, but I think Aaron Rodgers is like neck and neck right there. So I agree with you. It is Patrick Mahomes, but I think Aaron Rodgers is a very close second. Crazy thing is, everybody had Russell Wilson penciled in. Russ might not even get another vote this year. God damn, Russ.
He might not get a vote again, and that'll be crazy.
Vote this year. Dang. So
consistency matters.
Yeah, definitely matters. Let's get into. I don't know if I should do this question first or we should do our power rankings first. We're gonna do this question. I'm gonna do this question first. You asked who's the biggest threat to the Chiefs. I'm gonna give you two teams. One is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills have a good defense. The Buffalo Bills have an MVP candidate of their own in Josh Allen. They can't run the ball, but I don't think that's how you beat the Chiefs. I think you beat the Chiefs in shootouts. And they have that guy to actually do that. Josh Allen is one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, and actually his offensive line is creating the most time of anybody in the NFL for him to pass the ball. Stephon Diggs is a legit monster, and the Chiefs have no answer for Stephon Diggs. They have nobody on that team that can stop Stephon Diggs or Josh Allen. I think that is the biggest threat to the Chiefs right now at the moment, because they can put up points, and they actually have a defense that can actually confuse Patrick Mahomes a little bit because they don't blitz a lot, and they put schemes together that will confuse Patrick Mahomes a little bit. So I think that's one of the teams that I think that's the biggest threat I think to the Chiefs. The other one that I have written down, the Las Vegas Raiders. They actually beat the Chiefs this year, and they played them very tough in another game that they actually could have won. So I think if the Las Vegas Raiders can get in, and they play the Chiefs, say that the Chiefs are the 2 seed, the Raiders are the 7 seed. That's who they play in the first round. That'll be a very interesting matchup because of the way that they both play. They played them twice this year and beating them once.
I don't have no problem with either one that you said. I'm just gonna say two different teams. One, I know everybody made fun of them after what happened, but the Steelers. The Steelers, like Big Ben's a Super Bowl champ. Mike Tomlin's a Super Bowl winning coach. Like that defense is legit. The defense is really good. The offense needs to find a running game. Does need to find a running game. But it's also important, and like I said the other, they got to get home field. It's important to have home field. That means something to them. It don't mean nothing to Patrick and the Chiefs. They'll take that show anywhere. They'll take that show anywhere. But I believe that it does mean something to the Chiefs. I mean to the Steelers. And the other team, and you can say bias alert, but it's the Ravens, man. If
bias alert.
It's the Ravens. The defense is still legit, and we still have the most explosive weapon in football.
Yep.
Nothing's changed. He's still that guy. So, lightning in a bottle. He looked decent last night. I mean, I'm not expecting him to drop back and look like Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. But as long as he makes good decisions and they open the offense up, they'll be fine.
You open up the offense. Listen, I legit wanted to pencil them in, but I was like, man, just the way they playing and how they handicap that man. If they open up that offense and let him be free, I think they let him be free a little bit last night. We see he got back to a little bit of Lamar. He started running. Yeah, I mean, you legit see like people who be like, man, he can't read defenses or he can't do X, Y, and Z. I think some of it's play calling, but when you let him free, let him play freely, you see him go through his reads. You see him go through his reads. He not boom boom boom. Okay, well, first read or second read not there. I'm taking off. He go through his reads. That Hollywood Brown touchdown at the end, that was a read. He was looking one way, went to his reads, and then he saw Hollywood Brown. That Miles Boykins pass, that was a read. He goes to his reads, and I think when you can allow him to do that, open it up, it can be scary. And like you said, y'all legit have the most explosive weapon in the NFL. The Chiefs also have the second most explosive weapon in the NFL. so, like, I'm with you. I do think that the Ravens are a legit contender. They can contend with them if they open it up, man. And that defense is good. I mean, defense is really pretty good. Just don't play that Tyreek Hill 1-on-1. Just don't. I think the game that y'all played against them is a mirage, man. Like, y'all, that's not how y'all play defense. Y'all don't play defense that way. I think y'all panicked and got beat. I think if y'all play them again, we'll see a different game. I also like the. I can say I also like the. I thought about the Steelers. I think the Steelers would get blown out by. I think the Steelers would get blown out by the Chiefs. That's just my personal opinion. I think they blitz a lot. Patrick Mahomes is killing the blitz right now, and I think that they don't have the corners to actually stick with that weapon, those weapons. So while we're doing that, after talking about football, I want to jump right into our power rankings. I struggle at 10. Not gonna lie to you, but I just found a way. I legit just couldn't not put them on there, even though they probably shouldn't be on there. And they're not playing well right now. But it's the Bucks. I got the Bucks at 10. They 7-5. Everybody picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I just think they just need to figure it out. But I think that the teams that I have them ahead of, if they play those teams, I think the Bucks will actually beat those teams. So that's why I actually have them.
I don't think they're gonna figure it out because I believe that their head coach is stubborn. I believe he's just stubborn and he's not gonna change who he is, the way he does things, and therefore they'll win a game or two here right down the stretch. They'll find themselves in the playoffs. But I don't think they're gonna make much noise once they get there because I don't believe he's gonna change who he is and the way he handles things. Bias alert, I got my Ravens at 10. And it was between them, and I know the team that beat them should be ahead of them probably in the Titans, but after the way that the way Cleveland dominated them for majority of that game, even though Tennessee walked them down and everything, but for the majority of that game, Cleveland controlled that game. Tennessee's better than that, though. But it was between them two, and I was a homer, and I picked the Ravens.
Hey, listen, I think the Ravens will be right there when it's all said and done, so I can't knock you for that. I did have the Eagles at 11, but they almost made the cut, man. But once they bench Carson Wentz, man, I couldn't put them in. Top 10. But my number 9 is exactly who you just mentioned, the Titans. I know they got smacked on Sunday against the Browns, but the Titans, they are 8-4. They're still a good football team. I think that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, just like I feel like the Ravens are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as well. I feel like a lot of teams are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this year, man. Like, you legit don't know who you are from week to week except one team. I think actually I could say I legit know who 3 teams are every week from week to week. Maybe I can legit say I know 3 teams are from week to week. But yeah, I put the Titans in there because they got the legit running game.
No, I can say about 5. 6.
When I start naming these teams in the top, well, you know what? No. When I start naming these teams, I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know who the Ravens are. I don't know who the Bucks are. I don't know who either one of those teams are from week to week.
Yeah. Oh, you meant in your power rankings.
Yeah, my power rankings.
I thought you meant just in the league. You don't know who teams are.
Nah. When we start knowing, the bad teams, I know exactly who you are.
I know exactly who you are. The Jets, we know exactly who you are.
I know exactly who you are, the Jets. So yeah, within my power rankings, and I start like,
yeah, you don't know who these teams are.
I don't know who these teams.
Sometimes from quarter to quarter,
I don't know who you are. Like so. So yeah, the Titans, like you said, that's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. They look super good. Like you said, they look super good one quarter or one half, and then they come out the next half and it's like, who is that?
Yeah.
So Titans number 9.
My number 9 team is perfect example of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. We were just talking about the quarterback not possibly getting votes again, and that's the Seahawks. Like, this was a team that at one point looked like clearly the best team in football, and we were just waiting for the defense to show up, and all of a sudden the defense is playing good enough to win football games, and the offense is it clicking on all cylinders. So again, you never know what you're going to get from week to week. I still think they're a good football team. They're dangerous, and I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
Listen, I'll piggyback off of it because that's my number 18. I'm with you. Like, you legit don't know. The crazy thing is we for 10 seasons, we could pencil in, we know who Russell Wilson will get. I mean, Russell Wilson is. I know who Russell Wilson is. For 10 seasons, he's going to be anywhere 28, 35 touchdowns. He's not going to throw a lot of picks. He doesn't throw a lot. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't make bad decisions. He's not going to lose to trash teams. That's who Russell Wilson is. This season, my man Tamon would say this. Sierra's husband, that's what Tamon would say. Sierra. I don't know. Like, he's Sierra's husband right now. He 1 week he's Russell Wilson, another week he's Sierra's husband. I don't know. Russ is turning the ball over at a crazy rate. He's throwing interceptions like crazy. And he's losing to trash teams. Like, he getting beat. He just got beat by the Giants. I'm not saying the Giants is. I think the Giants is bad. They're trending in the right direction, but they shouldn't have lost to the Giants. With Colt McCoy as their quarterback. Colt McCoy was their quarterback, and he also said Giants 17-12.
No, they should not have lost that. They should not have lost that game. The Giants aren't bad, you know what I mean? But they're not a team that's contending for a Super Bowl championship. Seattle, you are. That's a game in the middle of trying to win a division, trying to get a home game in the playoffs. That's a game you have to have, and you drop the ball. So
Giants show up right now. That is the matchup. If the playoffs end of the day, the Giants show up in MetLife now. Like, man, we the best. We the better team.
Yeah,
they show up now like we the better team.
Yep. Yeah. My number 8 team is the Colts. I still don't believe in them. Still don't believe in them. I'll leave it at that. I don't believe in them.
Listen, you know I was high on the Colts, bro. I only got the Colts on my list. I don't got them on my list. I legit couldn't put them above the teams that I got ahead of them. I ain't got them on the list.
That was an impressive win to me Sunday for them. Go on the road and beat the Texans. The Texans was hot. The Texans have been playing good football. I mean, they had won like 2 games in a row. They have lost 2 games, but they were close. So they have been playing some good football. So that was impressive.
We both picked the Texans to win. If the center could snap the ball, the Texans actually win that game. Deshaun Jackson was balling. He had the move. He was rolling. He had the momentum. She gonna put the ball on the goddamn ground, and that's all she wrote. I say this all the time. Bad teams find a way to lose.
Yep.
That's what they do. That's what the Texans did. Bad teams find a way to lose. But I ain't gonna excuse. I'm not gonna excuse the beat down the Titans put on the Colts last week. I'm not gonna excuse that. That's why they're not in my power ranking, because they got beat down by the Titans last week. So, and I gotta put my number 17 is the Rams. Again, you talk about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. 2 weeks ago, I thought they was the most complete team in the NFL. They come in, they get beat by the 49ers on field goal, and then the 49ers get smacked by the Bills. Like, and again, I think the Bills is a beast team. You know what I mean? But again, it just goes to show good teams shouldn't lose to bad teams. Especially when you're competing for, like you said, a Super Bowl. You want to go out and compete for a Super Bowl. You want to go out and be able to compete with the Saints, stuff like that. The Rams legit look like, one week they look like the most dominant team in the NFL defensively. They just look like they just a monster. That motion offense looked like it's unstoppable at times. Then next week, I'm like, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. So the Rams, that's my number 17 because I don't know. They're just inconsistent.
My number 17 is the Dolphins. I want to say they're going to make the playoffs, man. I want to say it. It's going to be tough.
They got a tough schedule. They got a tough road.
They got a tough schedule down the stretch. But no, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to. But they playing good football, though. They playing good football.
They playing good football.
Now next year, they're gonna be the legit scary team next year.
Yep. Hey, listen. While we I don't know if y'all know. I put our mock draft on our page. I'm gonna see if the mock draft go how I think it's gonna go, and who the Dolphins picks. They're gonna be very scary next year. I think in my 27th, I had them, or late round, I had them picking Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith. I can't remember, but if they can add Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith, somebody who Tua knows, who has a rapport with already, that office can take off and look scary. And I think I got them top 10. I think I have them picking Michael Parsons. So if they can add to that defense and get that weapon, that'll be nasty. So I'm with you. The Dolphins got a bright future. My number 6 is the Browns. As much as I want to say they're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I'm gonna say this: the Browns have figured it out. The Browns figured out who they are. The Browns figured out who they are. They climbing. The Browns is not before these top teams is like, man, we can go to the Browns. That's a dub. Now they like, I might not want to face them. I might not want to face that Browns team. They got a good pass rush. They got a good running game. That quarterback now to do play action now. That quarterback did something. Like he figured something out. You know what I mean, that play action game is nasty. He don't got his top weapon. And the crazy thing is, they missing a lot of pieces in that secondary as well, who got injured early on. The Browns figuring something out. And I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Browns.
I'm with you.
Browns nice.
I got them higher than you. So
I gotta see you dropping.
I'm gonna see my pace. I'm gonna say my piece for in a minute. But my number 16, I got the Rams. Jared Goff gotta get it together, man. He's gotta get it together. They are almost in the same situation as the Eagles. Like you really can't move on from him, but you really don't want him either. So, but he's really their weak link. He's their weak link. I think they have a decent enough running game. I think they have a really good receiving core. I think the defense is phenomenal. The quarterback play has got to be consistent. He can't turn the ball over. He can't be the reason why they why they lose. So he corrects that. I believe they could beat anyone in the NFL.
I agree. I agree with you, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. My number 5 team, right? It's the Steelers, man. Here's my number 5 team. We've been shaky on them all season, but they've been consistent doing their thing. They should have lost to me. They should have lost 2 games. I think they should have lost both Ravens games, and then they should have lost this game, and they did lose this game. So to me, they should have 3 losses on their record. They don't. They are 11-1. And I think the Steelers have come back down to reality. I think teams are actually they're going to model what the Washington football team did. Washington football team didn't sack them with that monster front seven. They didn't sack them. But what they did is, we ain't gonna get to you, and you gonna throw the ball out quick. We're gonna put our hands up. And they batted. I think they batted down like 7 passes. One of them was a crucial one. It was the interception. Sealed the deal. I think teams are actually going to see that. Teams like the Ravens, if they play them in the postseason, the teams that's going to be ahead of them that they can play in the postseason, this is what they're going to do. They're going, we ain't getting to. We're going to put our hands up. And they don't have a run game. They got ranked number 29 run game or something like that. Not Steelers football. It's not Steelers brand of football. I think the Steelers have come back down to reality, and we're going to start to see that.
I feel you. We have 5, right?
Yep.
All right. I got 2 teams at 5. I couldn't. I was like, neither one of these teams. One of them is the Browns. Only because I feel like they are a team that is stuck in limbo where I feel like they're good enough to make that leap and make a real push to challenge for an AFC championship and a Super Bowl appearance. But the quarterback's not ready yet. And then I have the Packers at 5.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like they play the competition one. And they're still too reliant on Aaron Rodgers. As good as Aaron Jones in the running game is, they still too reliant on Aaron Rodgers, and they are an Aaron Rodgers injury or bad game away from being completely done.
We see it.
So I feel like other teams are more complete that I got ahead of them. So that's it.
Listen, we seen it. We seen the games that they lost, Aaron Rodgers had bad games. Games that they're struggling, Aaron Rodgers have bad games. Like the game, I legit thought they was going to lose to the Jaguars because Aaron Rodgers was having a bad game. Aaron Rodgers has to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has to be an MVP for this team to win. Like you said, as good as Aaron Jones is, he has to be an MVP. And Devontae Adams has to be an MVP type player. Devontae Adams has to play like the best wide receiver in the league for this team to win. And them two have to be on the same page like that. So, and for the most part, they've been doing it all season. So that's why I got them higher. I got them at number 4. Because those two have been balling. They have been on the same page. They've been playing at MVP, offensive player of the year type levels. And they've been unstoppable when those two get off. So got them at number 4.
My number 4. I got the Bills at 4. I was fighting between them and another team who I got at 3, but I got the Bills at 4. I think they are legit. The only question that I have is Josh Allen really ready to make that leap and make that playoff run and get to the Super Bowl? That's it. I believe the defense is going to make enough plays. They haven't been the defense that I thought they were going to be. I'll give them that. They have not been the defense that I thought they were going to be. They still can't run the football. But Josh Allen is legit, and that receiver core is legit. Whether it's Beasley, John Brown, Stephon Diggs, it doesn't matter. They all do what they're supposed to do and get the job done. So the Bills are legit. I just don't know if Josh Allen is ready to make that leap. It's something different when you have a reliable running game and a really good defense. That quarterback can not be ready yet, kind of like how Russ was. He can't be ready yet, but he's got to do a lot. He's got to do a lot because he's their best. He's their biggest rushing threat.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So I got the Bills at my number 3, but they're Hail Mary away from being at number 2. That's how I am on them, man. That offense. I've been high on Josh Allen since you know what I mean, at Wyoming. Since he was at Wyoming, he has a big arm. I heard people say, somebody say he has a top 5 arm talent, or he may be a top 5 arm talent. No, Josh Allen is probably the top 2 arm talent in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody in the NFL that has a bigger arm than Josh Allen. It's just coupling it with the accuracy, and I think we're seeing it this year. Arm talent with his accuracy. He still makes boneheaded plays at times, boneheaded throws at times, but it's just that his arm talent, his arm is that good. Is that big. I got them at number 3 because I think the other 2 teams are more complete than them. But the Bills is a scary team. Yeah, I'm real high on them. And that's why I got my number 3 because of Josh Allen.
What you man? They legit, man. At 3, I got the Steelers. I still think that they
I'll switch next week for y'all though.
hopefully they lose. Hopefully they lose out. But they're still legit, man. I'm not gonna, just act like they're not good anymore. They still don't have James Conner. Like, he hasn't been healthy. I think he's been on the COVID list for like 4 weeks now. It seemed like, but they can't run the football right now, and it's really hurting. It's really hurting that offense. If people can keep saying they can keep throwing a little quick passes out, that's an extension of the running game. No, it's not. You can't play action that. So it's not a part of the running game. So the running game has to be established in order for that team to be good, because the defense is really good. I'm with you. I think the secondary is suspect, but with that pass rush, it covers all of the bad things on the back end. So Minkah Fitzpatrick was a huge pickup for them when they made that trade. That was a very good trade for them. I just think that the Steelers are still legit.
I knock the Steelers down because they lose. They have 3 starters that's going. 3 starters in their linebacker that's going. Linebacker that's going. They just lost Spillane, who was filling in for Devin White, and they lost Bud Dupree. I don't know how they recover from that, but they are the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. They linebacker you down there, so so we'll see. I do want to see how it works, but like I said, they linebacker you. Actually, they was already grooming one. I think at one point they was having 5 linebackers on the field. So I think they're already grooming one to come up. So, but I do want to see how it works though. So, my number 2 is the Saints, man. Like, that's another team we just waiting to see how they fall off. And every week, for some reason, like they find a way. I think they should have lost to Atlanta last week. I think there was a lot of boneheaded plays that were made on Atlanta's part. But the Saints defense is legit, man. That Saints defense is legit. And Taysom Hill somehow, some way finds a way. And Alvin Kamara. I remember when we did our top 5 under 25 running backs, and I didn't have Alvin Kamara in the top 5. I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry, Alvin Kamara. I don't even remember who was in the top 5. I don't remember who I had in my top 5. But somebody getting knocked out. Alvin Kamara is legit probably the best running back in the game right now. There's nothing that man can't do. I said it. I want to see if he can carry the full load. He a monster, man. Like he catches the ball, run the ball, block. He had this stiff arm on Sunday that was nasty. And I said, yeah, Alvin Kamara top back in the league. He's top back in the league. So Alvin Kamara, I apologize. But the Saints right now, that defensively, Michael Thomas, that's why Taysom Hill looks so good. But he just throws to Michael Thomas. Nobody can guard that man. Legit, nobody can guard them two. Nobody can guard Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas. Saints, man, legit defense, and they got weapons. Saints, my number 2 team.
Yeah, that's why I got number 4. Saints, and I think they have a great combination of explosive weapons with the legit defense that they can go anywhere and play anywhere. This is the question. Can they still be explosive with Drew Brees? Drew Brees ain't gonna never be 100% the rest of this year. He had 11 broken ribs. He might be clear for football, but he ain't gonna be 100% or anywhere close to 100% with all of those broken ribs. Do you bring him back? Taysom Hill's playing really good. He's playing really good now. Granted, 2 of the games was against the Falcons. I understand everything. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. But Drew Brees is not. He wasn't Drew Brees anyway that we used to. And now we're talking about him coming back again. He did the same thing last year. He had to come back from an injury late in the season, and now he's gonna have to do it again. I don't know if Taysom Hill continues to play well. I think you ride him. I think you at least give him a shot against the Chiefs in 2 weeks. Because they're talking.
I'm with you.
Drew Brees coming back, and I'm like, let's see what Taysom gives us in that type of game first. You're gonna make the playoffs. You're more than likely gonna probably get the 1 seed and get the bye. I don't see anybody from the NFC chasing you down other than maybe the Packers. But see what you got with him in that game, because you got to buy this coming week. So see what you got. See what you got. See what you got against the Chiefs. Don't rush Drew back for that duel with that guy. Don't bring Drew back for that duel.
That's gonna be a duel. So, I'm with you, man. Like, forgive me for what I'm about to say. It's Taysom Hill's job to lose, man. I'm sorry. It's his job to lose. I don't care if Drew come back healthy. It's Taysom Hill's job to lose. He brings another dynamic to that offense. He can run the ball. He's a adequate enough passer to hit the open play, find the open man. That offensive line is nasty because he does not get pressured. It's a different dynamic when he's back there. Drew Brees come back there. You know what Drew Brees is going to be. You know what it is. I will keep Taysom Hill. I will ride out Taysom Hill. And like you said, to come back and play the Chiefs, Drew Brees, that's going to have to be a shootout. I don't care what your defense. I don't care what your defense look like when Kansas City come to play. You could be the '85 Bears. You could be the 2000 Ravens. You could be whoever. He gonna make plays. Pat Mahomes gonna make plays. Tyreek Hill, they're gonna make plays. That's what they do.
I'm with you.
Which brings me to who my number 1 team is, which is the Chiefs. They make plays. Yep. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about this, because I know that's your number 1 team, right? Early on, like four weeks in, people was talking. I know me. I was asking, do the Chiefs look like the Chiefs? Do Patrick Mahomes look like Patrick Mahomes? Like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes?
I remember.
They 10-1. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. He got 2 interceptions. Like, and he going through for like 50 touchdowns. Maybe. I'm sorry, Pat Mahomes, man. It's just your own greatness.
Yeah, I remember everybody was on that. Are we pushing? Are we gonna push the panic button on the Chiefs? And I'm like, really? Like, this is they didn't have a preseason, guys. Like, chill out. Like, and now look where we are. Like, we're talking about them possibly repeating and asking ourselves, how long can they keep this going on?
Yep.
With the youth that they have over there on that side of the football. Who knows how long they can keep it up?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna legit say this. If you don't got the Chiefs winning the next 4 Super Bowls, it's just hope and hate. I'm gonna keep it real. I legit cannot see anybody beating them over the next couple of years. It's just Tyreek Hill is young. He's like 26. Patrick Mahomes 24. Sammy Watkins, if they bring him, he young. Travis Kelce ain't going nowhere. The defense going to get better. They young. As long as Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid there, man, they're going to be the favorite every year.
Yeah.
The thing is, can they go on a Patriot-esque type run? That's gonna be the question.
Yeah. Because to me, the era is different. I think the Patriots went on that type of run because Bill Belichick's defense was always really, really good. Now, I don't think your defense has to be that good anymore because you're not going to win. It's very rare that you're winning games now 10-7.
Yeah.
You know, like all of a sudden 21-24 is a low-scoring game.
The Jets is trash, and they score 15 points a game, so I'm with you. They got no offense whatsoever. They scored 2. They at least scored 2 a game, 2 touchdowns a game. So I'm with you. Different era.
Yeah, it's different era. I don't think that I think they have that type of offense with those type of weapons with that quarterback. Yeah, they're gonna be tough to beat for a while.
And everybody locked up. And the way Andy Reid drafts now, he's just gonna keep adding. Every year he finds a gem, a steal, some way, somehow, somewhere. Just think about this. Patrick Mahomes, I think, went 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere like that. Andy Reid jumped up to get him, steal. Found Tyreek Hill in the 6th round, steal. Stole Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the end of the 1st round. Found Nicole Hartman. Found Travis Kelce in I think the 5th round. The way he's drafting right now, man, is just I can't see them stopping this train right now.
I'm with you.
Andy Reid, we can be talking about Andy Reid probably being the best coach of all time when it's all said and done.
He's gonna be in the running, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. All right, let's transition into basketball with our last segment before we talk about final thoughts. Kick it off. I got this question. Giannis got the max deal coming up. We've seen James Harden turn down his max deal over for 2 years. We've seen LeBron sign his. But Steph Curry got his coming up as well. He made news in today. He wants to be there. Wants to be a lifer. But do you see him being a lifer?
No. Because of the organization. The organization is forward thinking, and he knows that that's how they operate. He understands it's a business, and there's going to come a point where they're going to have to move him for assets because I hate to say it, I doubt Klay comes back and be the guy that he used to be. I know that he was never the overly athletic type guy, but what he brought defensively is going to be impacted by the injuries. So that being said, I think they're going to try to give Steph a run. They're going to give him another probably 2-3 years. Try to give him a run, but then they'll move him and make sure they take care of him because that's the type of organization that they are.
I think Steph is a lifer. if you get rid of Steph Curry, that organization gets rid of Steph Curry, it's gonna be like if the Lakers would have got rid of Kobe Bryant. It's gonna be hell. That guy is Golden State. He brought relevance back to Golden State. He brought dominance to Golden State. I know they got the championship with Rick Barry, but before that, that team wasn't relevant. He brought relevance to that team. He makes that team exciting. You have to take care of him. He has to be a lifer. You cannot get rid of that guy. Yes, like you said, I think they're gonna give him the extension.
I think those days are over.
What, lifers?
Yeah, I think those days are over. I really think now organizations understand the business of it. I think players understand the business of it, but I also think that with the contracts of it now, like you don't have to worry about trying to take care of a guy at the end of his career because he's getting paid buku money after his rookie contract. So I really feel like understand both of those entities. Steph understanding who he is, he just got a brand deal with Under Armour. So like I feel like they are like, man, yeah, you're getting this also because you're here in Silicon Valley. Like we as much as you've benefiting, as much as we've benefited from you, you're benefiting from us too in our location. So I believe that those two can come together and have a mutual understanding of this is business. And I also feel like the fan base is also that way as well. They're forward thinking as well. Like there wasn't a lot of outrage when KD left.
Yeah, because it's KD. It ain't Steph.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I'm saying like there wasn't no outrage. Why? Because we're still gonna be good. I feel like the way that this organization carries itself with getting it, even when they brought in D'Angelo Russell, they moved him again because they was forward thinking. Mm-hmm. And then you draft in James Wiseman. You got another pick that could potentially be from the Wolves that could potentially be a lottery pick. I feel like this organization and Steph will understand the forward thinking and move on. Now you might bring him back for like a victory lap and let him retire as a Warrior or something like that. You know what I mean? But I believe that if this organization gets to the point, and I do believe that it can happen sooner than later, that we've got to try to worry about our future, and Steph's probably not going to be a part of that future. They're going to move him, and he'll understand it.
I think he'll understand it. I disagree with you with the fan base. I think they can forgive if you move them from Draymond. They may be a little bit mad if you move on from Clay. I think they'll be mad for a while. I think if you move on from Steph Curry, I think that fan base will go in an uproar. And I also think what you said, I think that they will understand. They will come to an understanding. Like you said, Steph is set for life. He's set for life. Yeah, I mean, even with this extension that they're gonna give him, he's set for life. So I think that even after the extension, we're talking about 37. One thing I think he'll be able to play till he's in his 40s because he's a shooter. Yeah, I mean, and he's not super athletic. He's gonna be able to shoot forever, the rest of his life. He's gonna be able to shoot. Yeah, I mean, so I think even when we're talking about moving on to the youth movement, I think there'll still be a room for Steph. He might not be the star, but he's also going to have to understand that I'm going to have to take a pay cut to stay here. Just like with Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki took pay cut to stay in Dallas. Tim Duncan took pay cuts to stay in San Antonio. I think that's how you become lifers. Now, the only one that got their money to stay in somewhere was Kobe because they owed that to him. I'm not saying that Golden State will have to owe that to Steph. I mean, they should, but if anybody I think that could be a lifer in this generation, I think is that guy. I think that guy will be a lifer with the Warriors.
I can see it. I just think that the track record for Golden State is forward thinking.
I got you.
And when the time comes, they're gonna pull that trigger.
they better think forward like Steph Curry retiring as a Warrior.
I
But
think
I get it. They are a forward thinking. They are a forward thinking organization. They just better think about life down the line with Steph actually being in the front office. That's what they need to think about. I think it's gonna be crazy. They move him. You move Steph Curry. I think that is going to be crazy. But we'll see. We'll see. It's not. He is a super likable superstar who, like I heard somebody say that he's a no maintenance superstar. Like he don't bring drama. He play on ball, off ball. You bring in whatever superstar you want in, and I can fit whatever that superstar wants to do.
very low maintenance.
So let's get into these NBA seedings, man. I don't know where you want to start. East or West?
Don't make me no difference.
All right. So what I did is I actually went 10 out because of the seeding games. So I'm gonna start East. And I got Orlando at 10. I just don't see where Orlando got better. I know they brought in Cole Anthony, but as far as like what they did, as far as to get better as a team, I don't see where they got better as a team. They brought everybody back. They're gonna have people healthy, but so did almost everybody else, and they actually added pieces. So I just don't see where Orlando actually gets better. I actually see them fighting for that number, fighting to get in that playoff for that playing game. But I actually don't think that they actually win in that playing game. So I got Orlando at 10.
I'm with you. I got the Magic at 10. Nothing they did nothing except for draft Cole. That's it.
My number 9, I got Washington. I know I do like the addition of Russ pairing him with John Bradley Beal. I like the draft pick. I like Thomas Bryant. We talk about it a lot. I like a lot of things that they do. I actually see them fighting to get into that playing game. Don't know if they actually make it, but I think that I can see them. I actually can see them anywhere from 7 to 10. I just like a couple of other teams that are ahead of them, just off of what they did all season. But like I said, I can see Washington actually get into the playoffs and not actually having to fight in that seeding game. But as of right now, I got them.
I'm with you. I have no problem with that. At 9, I got the Hawks. I think they're still young, so they're still gonna have some growing pains. Super talented, but you gotta learn how to win, and it's gonna take some time to learn how to win. And I think this is the year where you start to see them make that ascension into making a true playoff run. So
I got you. Which is why I got them at 8 because I like a lot of the moves that they made in the offseason. I mean, I like surrounding shooters, surrounding Trae Young with shooters. I think Trae Young is super mature beyond his years. You know what I mean? He's a great facilitator. He's a great scorer, and I like actually the addition of Rajon Rondo. You know what I mean? Who brings veteran leadership to that locker room. So I think they got a young talented team. They got Cam Reddish. They got DeAndre Hunter. They got 2 bigs that they can roll out and throw at you right now. Shoot, they got Clint Capella as well, right? I forgot they got Clint Capella. So they got 3 bigs that they can roll at you. So they can play any style of basketball, any brand of basketball to me. Go big, go small. And I like the shooters that they got around Trae Young. So that's why I got them in my AC. Right?
I'm with you. Controversial. I got the Raptors at 8. I think they're gonna take a step back. I know people are like, well, they play without Marc Gasol and they play without Serge and they play well without both of them. Yeah, you did, but what I seen from them in the bubble was scary. It didn't look like Pascal Siakam had taken the step forward that everybody was expecting him to take. Kyle Lowry is having to do too much. That's not who he is. And Signing Fred was re-signing Fred was big. That was big. It helps, but I still don't know how good is their bench really going to be. Because if you lose Serge and you lose Mark Full, that means two guys that came from the bench is probably going to step in because you didn't make any free agent splashes, which means guys from the bench now are going to have increased roles. So I have to see what it is. Nick Nurse can coach. We all know that. I still think that they have a lot of good talent, but I'm not sure they have that talent that they used to have when they were making those runs. But I could be wrong.
Listen, I'm not mad at you at all. If you look at my paper, I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know where I had them, but I started crossing people out because I was like, man, I don't know where to, like, at one point I was like, man, I'm not even going to put Toronto in here because I don't know. One, they're not going to be in Toronto. They're going to be in Tampa. They're going to be away from I don't know how that's going to play on their mental. But then, like you said, Fred VanVleet got paid. Is he still hungry? Is he still hungry to prove that he belongs? You know what I mean, because he was an undrafted free agent. You know what I mean? So he was hungry. He wanted to prove that he belongs. We heard him say, man, I want to get paid. He got paid now. Is he still hungry? Like you said, Pascal Siakam. I don't know if he's that guy. Kyle Lowry's older. Serge Ibaka isn't there. Marc Gasol isn't there. And the replacement that they replaced them with, and Alex Len and somebody else, I'm not sold on them. So I'm with Toronto can go anywhere from 7th to Toronto legit is a team where they could legit be anywhere from 2 to 10.
They could be anywhere from 2 to 12, 13.
So I
just don't know. I don't think if they are in the top 4, you won't be surprised. But if they don't make the playoffs, I don't think you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, I got Toronto at 7. And that's respect.
At 7, I got the Wizards. I'm high on this backcourt. I'm high on Thomas Bryant. I'm just not high on the coach. But the coach got his guy. So I think they're gonna bring out the best in each other. I got them at 7, but I'm expecting them to be higher. I'm expecting them to be higher because I believe this backcourt is gonna do damage in this league.
Best backcourt in the East. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm looking at it. Best backcourt in the East.
So I'm expecting big things from him, man, but I got him at 7 right
Shoot, now. I'm looking at the rest of the league. I'm like, man, they might be the best backcourt in the NBA, but nah, they not. But close. They could be the best backcourt in the NBA. This is another team. My number 16 was another team where, like I said, I start scratching people out. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they would fall. I gotta see all of them healthy. Nate McMillan isn't there anymore. So they got a new coach come from Toronto Tree. Yes, it's the Pacers. I don't know. They lost a lot. There's a lot of turnaround there. Nate McMillan gone. They lost the GM. Or the basketball operations, whoever he was. They lost him to Philadelphia. Don't know what Victor Oladipo is. TJ Warren is is a contract year. Sabonis is coming off of an injury. I think Miles Turner is also coming in a contract year. Like, I don't know what this team legit is. But I got them at 6 because if everything does click, they're a real good talent. They're a talented team. So that's why I got them at 6. Because I think that their talent alone should warrant them to be at 6.
I'm right there with you. I got them at 6, man. Like, it's really dependent on Vic's health and who he is. Even with Sabonis coming back or not, it's all about that all-star wing who was ascending to be a superstar wing before the injuries. So if Vic isn't Vic, they could be fighting. They could be fighting for that 10th spot. If Vic ain't healthy, they could be fighting for that 10th spot, especially now without. I believe Nate McMillan's defensive mind is what kept them from faltering off and not making the playoffs last year. You seen what happened when they got in the playoffs; they were exposed. Offensively, they were mostly challenged, and that was with Vic. Even though I still didn't think he was healthy, but they were challenged majority of the time. This team can be one of the best teams in the East, or they could be one of the worst teams in the East. To me, they're just like the Raptors. It all depends, but this is dependent all on the health of Vic, in my opinion.
I'm with you. I agree. Number 5 team. I legit forgot to put them on in there when I was thinking when I was doing the list. I was like, hold on, somebody missing. It's Miami. I think Miami caught lightning in the bottle, man. Like nobody expected them to be there. Nobody expected them to do things. I think people know who Miami is now, so they're gonna game plan. They're gonna game plan for Duncan Robinson. Yeah, I mean, becoming the shooter that he is. You know what I mean, they're gonna game plan for Bam Adebayo. But I think they also probably got the best coach in basketball. So, I legit like what Miami did in the offseason. I do like what they did in the offseason. I just think that the other teams, maybe it's just not respecting Miami. I don't know. But I think the other teams are more talented teams. I think the reason Miami went as far as they did because Miami had role players. Everybody knew their role. And they were a better team. They were legit a better team. I think sometimes you'll see where the best team is better than the best, more talent. And I think Miami, that's what we saw out of Miami last year. But I think other teams will actually be more experienced now. And then you'll see that their talent actually is too much for Miami this year.
I'm with you. I kind of like what they did in the offseason. I like Avery Bradley signing. I like the Myers Leonard. I think they drafted the kid from where's he from? From Memphis, Precious.
Yeah, they drafted Precious, another Bam Adebayo type, and they got somebody else in the free agent. I can't forget. I can't remember who they got.
So
they got Mo Harkless.
Yeah, and they got Mo. So I like what they did. Here's my thing with them. They're not as talented as the other teams. That's it. And then I think in the regular season, because we're talking about standings here, in the regular season, the more talented team is probably going to win more games.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've seen in the playoffs, Miami is going to be a tough out over a 7-game series. So if they finish in that 4-5, I feel sorry for whoever finishes 1, because you're gonna have a fight.
Oh, fight, yeah.
In that second round if they get out of that first round. So I think Miami also they didn't spend a lot of money. So also like what they didn't do in the offseason. Because come on, Pat could have went out and spent some money and bought somebody in if he wanted to. Yep. He could have went out and spent some money and bought somebody in if he wanted to. But he gearing up for something. So
yep. Hey, listen, the long game. When he brought in Goran, that's what he told him. He said, Goran, because it's a 2-year deal, but it's a 1-on-1. It's a 1-on-1 with a team option. So they gave Goran his money so they can free up the money for next year. They paid Bam, but they owed Bam. Miami, they gearing up, man. Like you said, they gearing up. They playing a long game. Yep. My number 4 in the East is Boston. I think losing Goran is going to hurt them. I think it's going to hurt them a little bit. That's a shooter. That's another ball handler. Kemba gets injured. I know they got Jeff Teague. I know they brought in Tristan Thompson, but Daniel Tice and Enes Kanter. Daniel Tice is he expanded his game. He knocked down 3. He set screens. Enes Kanter was a rebounding machine. Not saying that Tyson Chandler Tristan Thompson is not, but they lose Brad Wanamaker. They lose um Gordon Hayward. They lose uh who else I'm thinking about? I don't know if they lost Daniel Tice, but I think he goes back to the bench. But they lost a couple of pieces, so I think that Boston could take a step back a little bit this year, unless those two superstars. Which I think they'll take another step. I think those two superstars take another step. And I'm not saying being in the fourth side is not bad. Just the other teams that I got ahead of them I think they'll take bigger leaps.
I got the Celtics up for, but that's only because Kemba's going to be out at the beginning of the season. Otherwise, I'd have them ahead of the team that I have at 3, and I probably would flip them.
I got you.
So Boston, to me, I think the Gordon Hayward is addition by subtraction. I feel like now that rotation is more solidified because it was always where does Gordon Hayward fit in with on the floor with Jalen and with Jason. So I feel like now it's solidified. You add a shooter in the draft in Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
You add more size with Tristan Thompson. I'm not sure where Taco Fall is in his development, but it's another body. Mm-hmm. You still got Grant Williams, body. I still like Marcus Smart. I still like Carson Edwards. You add Jeff Teague. I feel like Boston is still in a really good spot.
Yeah.
I still feel like they're in a really good spot. If Kemba was healthy from the beginning, I might have them high. I might even have them at 2. They're that good. But Kemba's gonna be out for a while. So
I got you. I like Boston. I hate Boston, but I like Boston roster, man. I'm not lying to you. I'm sitting here thinking about Robert Williams that they got as well. Yeah, I mean another big athletic big. Yeah, I mean so they got team and they got Brad Stevens. You know what I mean so and they got my guy Jason Tatum. You know what I mean Dookie. So I like Boston. Just don't like the Boston Celtics. My number 3 is actually the Nets. I don't know how that meshes. Yeah, I mean, I think they struggle a little bit. I don't know how Steve Nash does. They got a lot of figuring out. I mean, they got a lot of gritty young players, like you said, with Spencer Dinwiddie and Caris LeVert. Are they the bench mob? You know what I mean? Who starts? Does KD play the 4? You know what I mean? Does Joe Harris play the 3 or the 2? Like, how do you play? Who starts with Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan? Like, I think they got a lot of stuff to figure out. I think it's a good situation, good things to figure out. But I think it's going to be a little bit of struggle early on, figuring things out. I think they're probably one of the most talented teams in the NBA. But I think the Clippers was one of the most talented teams in the NBA as well, and it took them a little while to figure it out. So I just think that they're going to be great. I think they'll struggle a little bit, but they'll figure it out later.
I'm with you. I got the Sixers at 3. I think that they're going to be a better coach team with Doc on the sideline. I think they're going to have better shooting, which is going to be a big help to both Joel and Ben. I just don't know if they're going to be as good as the other 2 teams in front of them. That's it.
That's understandable.
That's it.
I'm biased, but this our show, right? So I'll be real on it. We talked about they can be anywhere from 1 to 7th, maybe. They could be anywhere from 1 to 7. Just don't know with them. I'm high on them because of the talent. And again, Doc Rivers, if you can get the most out of that duo, that's why I got them at 6. Shoot, they can be at number 1 if Doc Rivers can get the most out of that duo. But if he can't and they stubborn, they could be at number 7. It just is what it is.
Yep.
So my Sixers, my number 2 is the Sixers because of the talent. You know what I mean? And I think that they're that good. I think that if Doc Rivers get the most out of them again, like I just said, they can be number 1. I think they're that talented. They have a lot of players, a lot of pieces. I just got to see it.
I'm with you. My number 2, and this is if everyone's healthy all year, of course, is the Nets. I think I'm with you with the mesh and how that's going to work out and everything. The 2 superstars. I also want to see how just the other guys fit. With the roles changing dramatically, in my opinion. So, how good are they going to be defensively too? That's a big question. I think they're going to have. They got rim protectors, but you don't have no defensive stoppers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be a real big question mark on them all year. So I don't know, but they're going to win some games. They're too talented to not win games.
They brought in Emeka Adopo, I think. Ime Adopo, San Antonio Sixers assistant. He is supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, so we'll see. But the other 2 you got on that roster, that staff, they don't play defense. They don't call defense. So we'll see. The unanimous, man, Bucks number 1. I think the Bucks, their regular season team, they got Giannis, like you said. They're a talented team. They gonna play. They gonna do their thing. That's just what they do. You don't got no issue with them in the regular season. It's the postseason where you see who the real Milwaukee Bucks is. I think Drew Holiday is enough to put them back at the top of the food chain in the East for the regular season. I just gotta see what they do in the postseason. So that's why I got the Bucks at number 1 because I think they're regular season team.
I got the Bucks at number 1 because I feel like they were the best team in the regular season last year in the East, and they got better. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what? Like, why would I say they're gonna lose less games? I still don't think they're gonna do anything in the playoffs, but I still think they could go out here and even in a 72 game season, I still think they can win 50 games. So
I'm with you. Shooting possibly win 60 games, 60-12.
So
I'm with you. Bucks gonna do their thing in the regular season. It's the postseason. Now I'm gonna tell you, jumping over to the West, bruh.
This one was dicey.
Bruh. I'm gonna start off.
Somebody didn't make it.
Starting it off. Memphis 10th. I got Memphis at 10th. People were like, what? Memphis at 10th? Man, you see the rest of this West? Wait till you start looking at the list.
Somebody got left out.
Somebody couldn't. Everybody can't make it.
Everybody can't make it.
So, yeah, I know Ja Morant, Darling. I know Triple J, Beast, Dylan. They solid. They added some players. They just still young. It is what it is. They still young. And the teams ahead of them, I think the reason that, oh my God, I left somebody else off. I didn't even think about it. I just looked at my roster. I left them off too. They're just young. They're young teams. Memphis is 10th, man, because they're young. There are other teams out here that I think got better and added to their superstars. So I got Memphis at 10.
I got the Pelicans at 10. I was going back and forth between the Grizzlies and the Pelicans at 10, but I got the Pelicans at 10. And the only reason I got the Pelicans at 10 is because I feel like they got more firepower with BI and Zion. That's it.
Keep it real with you. When I looked at my list, I was like, dang, I ain't even got the Pelicans on here. I agree with you. I legit agree with you. If I do my list over, I would put the Pelicans ahead of Memphis because they got BI, they got Zion.
Yep. So
I still don't know what direction they're going in.
I was getting ready to say that. The only reason I don't have them higher is because I don't know where they're going. Like, I felt like they missed out on the draft. I knew they weren't going to make any splashes in free, but I felt like they didn't draft well, and I felt like they traded for guys they didn't have to trade for. I didn't like. There's no reason to sign and then extend Steven Adams. Then there's no reason to trade Drew Holiday for Eric Bledsoe. Like Eric Bledsoe was the guy that wasn't getting it done in the playoffs on a championship contender team, and then you're gonna bring him in as the veteran leader for a team that you think is ascending to that. I don't get it. So
and they got the 3 first rounders, but Giannis, I think yesterday turned 26. He turned 26 yesterday, so those 3 first rounders. I mean, I get it. You can get 3 first rounders. Those 3 first rounders, man. Let's stay in like 2030. they're gonna be a high late round first rounders, unless Giannis decide he ain't gonna sign that supermax, and maybe I mean then Van Gundy and them know something we don't know. My number 9, man. If I gotta go back and do it again, I'm serious just thinking like my number 9 is the Rockets. It's the Rockets. I'm legit here thinking like, man, maybe I should put Memphis ahead of them. Maybe I should put Memphis ahead of them because I don't know if James Harden gonna be there, and if I'm real, if James Harden is there and I want to be out, man, I'm gonna be real with you. It's all about me. I'm trying to average 50 if I'm James Harden. You came in and said you are we are comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay, I'm gonna get on that court. I'm going for 50 a night, and I'm gonna make the coaches real uncomfortable.
I'm gonna test that. I'm gonna test that theory.
I'm gonna make them real uncomfortable. John Wall pass me the ball, boy. Ain't nobody getting that ball back.
Dribble, shoot.
So that's why I got the Rockets at 9, man. Because I don't know what I want. I don't know what type of offense they go around. I don't know what this team is. James Harden didn't want the coach. He didn't want the GM. He probably didn't want John Wall. He don't want to be there. PJ Tucker like 2 seconds away from smacking everybody. Eric Gordon don't like his contract. He don't like how he being used. Like it's a lot of problems in Houston. So that's why, man, I'm thinking about putting Memphis ahead of them. There's a lot of problems.
I got him at 9. And that's only because James Harden returned.
That's it.
If James Harden didn't return to training camp, they wouldn't have been in there. They wouldn't have been in. That team on paper right now, that team's not good. And they're only there now because of James Harden.
I'm legit with you.
I seen James Harden take a team that was the equivalent or maybe even worse, and it was a 4 seed.
Yep.
Only difference was the West wasn't this loaded. So because of how loaded the West is, I'm gonna say he's gonna make the playoffs if he's there.
Yeah.
But if he's not there, if they trade him, and depending on what they get back for him, they're not a playoff team.
They're not a playoff team at all. I got 2 things before we move on from this James Harden, to number 8. Their owner came out and said they got better. Said the Rockets got better. Where? Where did you get better? I remember I keep telling you, they're a delusional front office. That front office is a legit delusional front office.
Let me go look at something. Obviously, I missed something. I obviously did. I had to miss a whole lot. Let me see.
He said, we got better.
Let's see here. No, I don't see it.
Listen, Christian Woods had 15 games. He had a good 15 games, but he had 15 games, bro. We don't know what he is. You signed up Boogie Cousins, who we don't know what Boogie is now. You got John Wall, don't know what he is. Got rid of Russell Westbrook. Robert Covington, you know exactly what Robert Covington is. You lost Daniel House. Where did you get better? Where did you get better? And James Harden isn't happy. So how did you get better? Anyway, I'm gonna throw this thing out to you, then we can move forward. I heard another rumor: James Harden could possibly go to the Golden State Warriors. I think that would be bananas if he went there. You know what I mean? So,
see, who's coming up with these rumors? I believe that the Rockets are just throwing out these names so they can try to get higher bids for people, because I do not believe these teams are truly interested. I heard that James is interested in going to Philly. My only question to Philly is, are you going to give up Ben?
Nope.
For James Harden?
Nope.
I wouldn't. But hey, whatever.
So yeah,
James Harden's out. He's out. I just don't know where he's
you just don't
going.
know where he's going.
But I definitely don't see him in Golden State.
I'm gonna tell you what's going. It's going to be Toronto. Kawhi went to Toronto. Nobody's seeing that coming. That's what's going to be with James Harden. James Harden in Minnesota. What?
See that? See. The Rockets, they can't do that, man. You can't do that to that man. You got to trade him somewhere where he can win a championship, man. But you also got to fall on your sword and realize that these other teams are not going to send you back a superstar.
Why would they?
You're the one that you're in desperation.
Yeah.
You should have never offered him that money. You should have never offered him that money. You should have just said, James, what you
offered that man that money and he rejected you.
His trade value was like, I can wait it out. I can wait a year or two for James. I can wait a year or two, whatever.
Yeah. Listen, James Harden gonna play his way right out of Houston, bro. 50 a night. I'm calling it right now.
He gonna shoot from half. He gonna shoot from half court.
From half court and everything. He gonna get his triple doubles in, and he out. He might have a quadruple double this year, and I'm talking about 10 turnovers. James Harden is great. He great. Play his way right out of Houston. My number 8 team is the Phoenix Suns, and I'm sitting there looking like, man, they got Chris Paul. I like everything that they did, and I'm like, the West is just that loaded. I can't see them jumping ahead of a lot of these teams. And the team I actually have right above them, I had to pencil them in because I forgot about them. That's how loaded the West is. Phoenix Suns, I like what they did with Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul actually helps them, gets them in the playoffs. And I think they'll be super competitive team. I just don't know if they got enough to crack these other teams off of what the other teams did. So I like Phoenix, but I legit don't know if they can jump any higher than 7 or just based on what I see with the other teams.
At 8, I'm so torn here. Because he's really one of my favorite players, man, but I just don't like the team around him in comparison to everybody else's team. And I got the Blazers at 8. Dame has I think the team around him is good, but when you look at everybody else's team, it don't compare. So I got him at 8 just off the straight for that backcourt. Their Nurkic can't stay healthy. Robert Covington is 3-and-D. He's gonna do his thing. So I'm just not sold on the rest of that roster. So
I got you. Here's my thing: does Melo come off the bench or does he start?
He better come off the bench.
Does Robert Covington play the 4 or the 3? But I do like that team. I do like their team. I do like a healthy Dame Lillard and CJ McCullough. So I got them at 7. Like you said, when I compare match them up with everybody else, this is what I get. Yeah, I mean, 2 monster backcourt, probably the best backcourt in the league right now, with Steph and Clay being down, But they got bigs, but like you said, they did bring Ernest Cantor back, so they got a bunch of bigs. I just gotta see it, man. I just gotta see it with Portland. See how healthy they are. They did bring back Rodney Hood. I just gotta see it. I just gotta see them healthy. I like the team. I like the team, but I just gotta see them healthy. So Portland at number 7.
At number 7, I had the Warriors. I like the roster. I like the roster. I don't think they have. I don't think they have the defense that we're used to seeing them have, to where they can make a challenge. Because I don't think they have a problem scoring points. I think they don't have great shooters, but they got guys that can put the ball in the hole. You know, when you think about Wiggins, you talk about, of course, Steph, Kelly Oubre. They got guys that can score the ball. I don't think that's going to be the problem. I think they're not going to be as good defensively, and I think that is going to be their Achilles heel. But I don't think they're going to have a problem scoring points if they stay healthy.
See, I got the Warriors a little bit higher, so I'll talk about it when I get there. But my number 6 is the Jazz. I actually think the Jazz could be anywhere from 3 to 5, like 3 to 6. You know what I mean? I like the Jazz. I'm real high on the Jazz. I think Donovan Mitchell showed he can be an MVP type caliber player. The Dwayne Wade-esque to me. Rudy Gobert showed me that he may get a little offensive game. I mean, in the postseason, he started showing his offensive side. You know what I mean? So they got Joe Ingles. I like Joe Ingles. They got a full season with Mike Conley, and they get back Bogdanovich. They bring back Bogdanovich. I like the Jazz. I like their team. So yeah, I got the Jazz at number 6 because I think they're gonna have the healthy season. I think Donovan Mitchell takes a superstar-esque leap.
I'm with you. I got the Suns at 6. I don't think people. The way a quarterback can make a difference on a team is the way a point guard can make a difference on a team. And I think adding Chris Paul to that team is going to take them to another level. And I'm not saying that Ricky Rubio isn't a good point guard, but let's be real. Ricky Rubio is no Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul is going to take everybody and he's going to make the game easier for them. And he's going to get them to the spots. He's going to make sure that they're where they are supposed to be for defensively. I feel like Phoenix is going to be really, really good this year. And after what we've seen Devin Booker do in the bubble, I think it's time for him to establish himself as one of the best players in this league.
I'm with you. I agree. I'm high on Phoenix, man. It's tough for me to see them jump over these people. And I love Chris Paul. It's just tough for me to see them jump these other teams. My number 5 is Dallas. I like Luka. I like them getting. I like what they did in the draft. Tyrell Terry, Jalen Green, getting Josh Richardson. They get the Dwight Powell back. They'll have a full season. Well, I don't think what's his name actually starts the season, but he's gonna come back another year in that system. Kristaps Porzingis, and Luka's gonna take another leap. Like I think the only thing that Luka can get better with is his 3-point shooting. If he comes back with a better 3-point shooter, that's gonna be scary. And if he comes back playing better defense, that's gonna be scary. So that's just a couple of things I'm banking on is he come back as an improved player, and then I'm getting them adding pieces on the defensive side. I think Dallas gonna be a very tough out, very scary team next year. We can get to that show, but I think they could be a very scary
team. I got the Jazz at 5. I think Donovan Mitchell is gonna finish as a top 5 MVP candidate. And I think Mike Conley is one of those guys. When he's healthy, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be healthy. He just can't stay healthy. That's his only issue. He can't stay healthy. But when he's healthy, he's right. And that's one of the things that they're missing. They're missing another guy that can put the ball in the basket on a consistent basis. Bogdanovich is a great shooter. You're going to get him back. Utah is going to be good. And they're going to be fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to it.
Crazy thing is this, right? Utah pushed Denver to 7 in an epic first round. And like you said, they didn't have Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich, I think people underestimate the value of Bogdanovich. He was a 20-point per night scorer that they just insert into their lineup. With the ascension of the other two superstars, that's gonna be a nasty team right there. So they can climb up the charts with me. My number 4 is the Warriors. I think Steph Curry is going to go bananas this year. I think he's going to go bananas. I think he's going to have an MVP-esque type season. I forget who I picked to be my MVP, but I think he's going to have an MVP-esque type season. And I think he's going to elevate the play of Kelly Oubre. I think Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins are both going to be 20-plus point scorers. I think Andrew Wiggins is probably going to be a 25 point scorer per night a game type player. I think Kelly Oubre is going to be like a 22 point per night score. And I also think their 3-point percentage is going to go up because they're going to get so many open looks with Steph Curry and Steph Curry being there. I like the addition of James Wiseman, Brad Wanamaker, and they added Kent Bazemore. So I think they're going to have some defense off the bench. I like the Warriors team. Draymond's going to be. You said it. Draymond's going to be come back super focused, and he may win Defensive Player of the
Year. Yeah, I'm big. I'm big on the Warriors too. I was really big on them if Clay was healthy. If Clay was healthy, people would have been shocked how high I had the Warriors. But with Clay going down, I had to knock him down.
Hey, I understand, man. Listen, I had him at number 1 when Clay was there. Clay there, man. They fall number 4.
My number 4 is Dallas, and that's only because Porzingis is going to miss the beginning of the year. I think they have a great balance on their team as far as superstars and the guys around them matching their game. I feel like everybody around Luka matches his game. And then when you add guys like a Josh Richardson, and again, it's just another guy that complements his game. I just think that Porzingis has to stay healthy for them to make a true push. They beat Clippers in the playoffs last year in the first round if Porzingis is healthy.
I agree.
So, and we wouldn't even have had a talk about a 3-1 collapse. This team is ready now to win if Porzingis is healthy because Luka is that good.
I'm with you. I agree. Hey, listen, I talked about my they was my 5 seed, so man, I'm with you. Dallas, I'm real high on Dallas, man. They just got, like you said, their 2 superstars just got to go to that next level, and they added Josh Richardson, like you said, which is a complimentary piece. So I like Dallas, and I like Rick Carlisle. Number 3, Denver, and depending on Michael Porter Jr., what Michael Porter Jr. you get, they can probably climb my list. But Jamal Murray showed he could be a superstar. We seen what happened with we know what Jokic is. They brought in JaMychal Green. I know they lost Grant, but they're gonna get Will Barton back. They got the other boy name. Can't think of his name now. But he's gonna be healthy. That Bobo, like you said, Bobo can get into the fold. I mean, and be a superstar. But the key is gonna be Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. turns into light-skinned Kevin Durant. This team, sky's the limit for this team. Sky's the limit if he turns to light-skinned Kevin Durant. He turned light-skinned Kevin Durant. He became their best player.
That's saying something with Jokic.
So that's my number 3 team.
My number 3 team is the Lakers. To me, they're still the favorite to come out of the West. Don't get it twisted, everybody. Get it twisted. But they're a team where you got LeBron. He knows who he is. He's been here before. The rest of those guys that just won a championship that's coming back, they don't know what it's like to try to go back and repeat. They don't understand the uphill battle that they are getting ready to face. And even the coaches on the sideline don't know. So to me, I think that's going to play a factor. They run a good defensive team last year. You lose two, three of your best defenders. You're probably going to take another even bigger step back defensively. I just don't think that they are going to be as good as they were in the regular season last year. But come playoff time, LeBron is going to have them where they need to be and hit it in the right direction. So don't come at me because I don't have them number one in the freaking regular season. LeBron has not been a number one seed every year. And he's been in the finals, 12 of the last 13 years. Like, chill out, everybody. Chill out.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. A lot of those people coming back last year was as far as the furthest they've been. like Caldwell Pope, that's the furthest he's ever been. Yeah, I mean, AD, that's the furthest you've ever been. Frank Vogel, like you said, like a lot of these players and those coaching staffs, that's the furthest they've ever been. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be tough to try to come back. And one, y'all just 80 days ago? Y'all just stopped playing basketball 80 days ago? It's gonna take a little while.
Yeah. I expect LeBron to end up on some injury report at the beginning of the season. I feel like he'll probably be healthy for some of the nationally televised games, but he'll find himself on an injury report and not playing a couple of games here or there at the beginning of the season, and rightfully so. He deserves to get a rest for the long haul after just finishing up the NBA Finals in late September, October. So
yeah. This is what I'm gonna say about LeBron. I got the Lakers as my number 2 team. This is what I'm gonna say about LeBron. I'm coming around to, like, I'm no longer just not hating on this man. You know what I mean? I'm respecting who he is, and I'm respecting the greatness that he has. Like, I think you've seen like the maturity, like with the Kyrie comments that he just had. And Kyrie said, Kevin Durant, it's the first time I've seen the first time I trusted somebody to close a game out, other than me. Like, LeBron could have came out, like LeBron said. He could have came out and said, man, that guy, I actually, since I've been in the league, who has more game-winning shots than me? Nobody. Yeah, I mean, he could have came out and said all those things, but, like, he just said, like, man, listen, I did everything for the kid. I tried to put him in.
He knew his fan base was going to come to his defense and take care of that for him. He don't have to speak. His fan base is going to take care of that for him. To me, the comments, one, is unnecessary. But that's who Kyrie is. And two, who cares if you felt that way? You could have felt any way you wanted to feel. Didn't take away from the fact that you were playing with a guy that put you in every position to hit those big shots. So, like, whatever, Kyrie, make some big shots with the Nets, and then get back to me.
I love Kyrie. I'm a Dookie. Kyrie, you had every opportunity to ball out with the Celtics. You got knocked out in the second round, I believe, with the Celtics. You weren't healthy.
They've done better without you.
I love you, Kyrie, but listen, I'm gonna say this on speak on it. You better be very careful when you come for a GOAT. And I'm gonna say LeBron is a GOAT. I'm not saying he's the GOAT, greatest of all time, but he is a GOAT. Like, I wanna stop saying or comparing like MJ, Kobe. Like, LeBron's a GOAT, and I want to say that. You know what I mean? He is one of the best players, one of the greatest players that we've ever seen. In my era, there's 2 players that are GOATs to me that I've seen career to career. It's LeBron and it's Kobe. I didn't watch all of Jordan's career, but LeBron is a unicorn. You know what I mean? He got 4 championships. If LeBron win 2 more, I'm gonna put him ahead of Kobe and Jordan. He won 2 more. Like I'm in the place. I'm taking the mature approach like LeBron. I'm taking the mature approach like LeBron. I'm no longer gonna hate on this man, man. He
I'm
is
not gonna hate. I've
greatness.
never hated on him. I've never hated on LeBron. I've always been honest about him. I've always been honest. If that's hate, then you could call it hate. But I've always been honest about him. The guy is phenomenal. I still believe that he is the greatest prospect in the history of the NBA. I believe he is probably the most talented guy to come through the NBA. Unfortunately, he had some failures along the way. Like,
I agree.
Unfortunately, it happened. I can't not make it. It happened.
Yeah, you can't make it disappear.
It happened. I'm sorry. It happened. And it's not even about, to me, it's not even about just losing. It's also about the way you lose and how you lose and who you lose to. So, to me, he's definitely in the conversation. He'll always be in the conversation. I'll never put him over Jordan. I don't think there's anything that he can do at this point to surpass Jordan. But dude is phenomenal, man.
Like, yeah, he goes 6 and 6. He got 6 championships. Listen, he go there 12 times. He has 6 championships. He's the all-time leading scorer. He top 5 in rebounds, top 5 in assists.
That just meant he played longer than Jordan. That doesn't mean he had a better career.
I know. Hey, listen. Jordan, listen, like I said, I didn't watch Jordan career to career because Jordan was drafted 85. I was born in 86, you know what I mean? So I didn't see him career to career, you know what I mean? But Jordan is a GOAT. But if I'm talking about who I've watched from beginning to end, to me, Kobe is my GOAT. Because I watched him the whole time. Closest thing to MJ, got 5 rings. Kobe, my GOAT. You know what I mean? Then LeBron, I got LeBron. But if we're talking about greatest of all time, it has to be an MJ. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, Lakers my number 2. I legit think they got worse. I think they they lost. I'm just being real. They lost. Like, people keep saying, Wes Matthews isn't the shooter Danny Green is. He's not. He's not the shooter Danny Green is. He's a defensive player. Like I said, he's a bigger body, but he's not as smart defensively. Yeah, I mean, as Danny Green is. Dennis Schroeder already causing problems. He's talking about he can be a point guard. You know what I mean? So the starting point guard. So I just want to see how that works out. Montrezl Harrell, Dwight Howard. I don't think that they've gotten better. I think they've gotten worse. But I still think that they are a top 2 team in the West because you have LeBron, you have Anthony Davis.
I don't see him.
So, like, I think that getting back, Martavis Caldwell Pope. I think that was huge. But I think you lose, like you said, you lose when you have Rondo. You lose Rondo. You lose Dwight Howard. You lose Danny Green. You lose a lot of veteran players.
Yeah, I think they're gonna take a step back, especially defensively, of course. But I think they're gonna be a better dynamic offensive team. Again, in my opinion, I know everybody wants to, and this is another reason why I don't think that LeBron will surpass Jordan. At what point does this become AD's team? Like, AD has to eventually become the best player on this team. LeBron is transitioning to a point guard. That's what he's doing. He's transitioning to a point guard, which means he doesn't want to carry the load offensively as far as scoring. He doesn't want to do it. You can see it in him majority of the time. Even in the playoff run last year, you can see it. He didn't want to take over those games scoring. He didn't want to do it. AD has to become that guy, and that's the reason why I don't think that LeBron will get there as well. Because I believe that AD has to be the MVP and the Finals MVP now in LA. So, but I'm with you. I think I got Denver at 2, and I think they're the most. I think they're the most talented and deepest team
in the NBA.
In the NBA.
Listen, they got light skinned Kevin Durant as their number 3 right now.
I just don't know. I don't know what it is that they're missing. I don't feel like they're missing anything, but for some reason they can't get to the next level.
Because of light skinned Kevin Durant. They waiting for him to develop. If he develops, man, he's their most talented player. He develops into what we thought he was going to be. Like his projection is Kevin Durant. He's 6'10". He can shoot it from anywhere. His offensive game is that smooth. There's nobody that can check him. If he turns into that, they are the best team in the NBA. Just like if Joel Embiid and if Ben Simmons turned into light-skinned LeBron James, those two teams will be battling them out for the next 10 years. It's just a bunch of ifs there. They need their young superstars to live up to their potential. That's what it is.
I'm with you.
So, with you, man. Like I said, I love Denver. Jamal Murray. I like that team. It's just I don't know if Jokic can be their best player on the championship team. Just like I don't know if Joel Embiid can be the best player on the championship team. They need those two light-skinned pretty boys to turn into the best players. That's what they need. Maybe, but hey, they may prove us wrong. They might prove us wrong. And look like we both got the Clippers at number 1. I think the Clippers got better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did. I know they lose Doc Rivers, but like Doc said, you got Ty Lue, who is an extension of me. They added Luke Kennard, who people are gonna sleep on. I think adding Luke Kennard was huge. They don't have a point guard actually, or a legit true point guard that they brought in. But Pat Beverly's still a dog. Lou Williams is still a monster. They add Serge Ibaka to the starting lineup. They lose Montrezl Harrell, which just means Lou Williams comes back and wins another 6th Man of the Year award. So I think the Clippers, they just like all that superstar stuff went to their head last year, and there was a rift in that locker room. Plus, their superstars didn't play together a lot. I think Serge Ibaka comes in. He knows Kawhi. He solidifies that starting center role. He gives you that stretch 5 and block rim protector that they didn't have. And I think that they become the best team in the West.
They got the most to prove. I think they're the hungriest. I think they're probably the angriest. And I think they take that and they channel that into a really good regular season run. Whether that will translate to the playoffs or not remains to be seen. But I do believe that will lead them to have a really, really solid regular season because they have to have it.
Have to.
They have to have it. So
they still got playoff P.
They got Paul George.
If they still got playoff P, man, then they ain't going nowhere in playoffs, man.
They got Paul George. I don't know about this playoff P guy, but they got Paul George.
Listen. I lost a lot of respect for Paul George after we said about Doc Rivers. I just lost a lot of respect for him. For you to come out and say that, I wasn't utilized correctly. We didn't adjust, and I was sitting there like, yo. I seen him put you on Jokic. I seen him put Kawhi Leonard on Jokic. I see him put Montrezl Harrell on Jokic. I see him put everybody but Sam Cassell on Jokic and couldn't do nothing. I seen you.
Yeah, everybody got a turn.
So to say he didn't adjust, to say he was putting me in like I need post-ups, I need this, I need that. Paul George, you wasn't saying that when you was balling in the regular season. Like playoffs came around, Paul George, and playoff P struck again. That's what happened. That's real.
Coming off pin downs has nothing to do with you shooting the ball and hitting the side of the backboard from the corner. Nothing. That has nothing to do with schemes. That has nothing to do with adjustments by the coach. You shooting the ball and hitting the side of the backboard. Nothing.
Lost a lot of respect for that guy, man. Still a great player, but
Yeah.
I just can't respect what you
Yeah,
did.
man. Yeah, you gotta man up and own up to that one, bro.
So,
But
man,
that's just me.
yep, nah, not just you, it's me too. Hey, listen, that's our show for the day. We're gonna wrap it up with final thoughts. My final thoughts is basketball starting. It's our Friday, man. I just want to say, man, enjoy what you love. Like, enjoy it. You know what I mean? If sports is your thing, reading is your thing, get excited about it and enjoy it. Like, because again, COVID numbers is high. I just saw something today saying we losing like 2,000 a day or something like that. You gotta learn how to enjoy what you love. So that's my final thought for the day. Enjoy what you love, man. The world is crazy. You got all these things going around, especially with COVID, president, with killings, all this stuff. You gotta learn to live in the moment and enjoy what you love.
I'm staying with it. Either expand it or don't have it. And get college football committee. Come on, man, get it together. Expand it or don't have it. Let's go.
You gotta fire somebody from the committee, man. Something like that gotta happen because the way they doing stuff is crazy.
This is ridiculous.
That's our show for the day, man. I know we went a little bit over than what we usually do, but hey, we talking sports, man. We had basketball starting again. I made a couple of lists for y'all, so I'm excited about it. Hope y'all still tuning in. Hope y'all listen to the end because we got a lot of good stuff in there. If you want to follow us on our Facebook page or on our Twitter, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. If you want to be on the show as a guest, whether it's our cultural awareness shows, hip hop shows, or want to come on and talk sports, make sure you hit us up in our inbox. Our link tree is on our Facebook page. But that's our show for the day. Until next time, y'all, I'm going to holler at y'all. We're going
Peace.
to